Welcome back. Today we are going to talk about nutrition and physical health with Amanda Hogberg. Amanda is an Accountability Works certified coach, a master level nutrition coach, a certified personal trainer, and a life coach. Hey, Amanda.
Hey, Marissa.
Talk to you. So let's just jump right in. How did you become interested in developing your expertise in nutrition and personal training?
So I'll give you the short version. That's actually kind of long. I actually got a divorce and I was in this moment in my life where I just was like, I want to choose a new career for myself and I want it to be something that makes me happy and provides some type of value out there. And when I was kind of doing all of my thought exercises and what I wanted to go to, it just came back that one of my happy places was being in the gym, and it was transformative through my divorce, and the feeling of physical strength felt really good, and that helped to my mental strength through the process. And so I became a certified personal trainer, and I focused my energy on working with women and women's female fitness specialists. And what I found with coaching women is that they all really wanted to come in and lose weight. I think in all my time doing personal training, I had one woman that was interested in actually getting stronger. They liked it once they got into it, but the reason that brought them to me was they wanted to look different. And I realized through my own struggles that I was just not really equipped to help them. I had been yo-yo dieting throughout my life. I was always gaining and losing the same 20, 30 pounds. And I didn't want to give them the same advice that I was using because it was terrible. And so then I went and got a nutrition certification and I started working through that. And then I realized once you start working on body, or body image and weight loss with women, you really just start getting into all the junk, all the things they think, the body image, the things around them. And then I was like, oh, I need some more skills. So I better go back and get a whole master level thing. And then that's when I added in life coaching and, a variety of other things I won't get into. But it was really the focus on how to actually help someone make change and make change that they can keep. And so that's what brought me here.
I have known you for years and I did not know that.
You did? I don't even know if I think I talk about it, but I don't know how much, because I think divorce makes people feel weird, but it was a really big turning point for me. And it was good.
Yeah. I think we can all relate to, even if you haven't been through a divorce, it's just a major life transition. And when you have those moments, you reassess.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm happy that it brought you to study the things that you've studied, and obviously to us, to be able to support men and women here in so many ways. But it stands out to me, though, what you said about how they would come to you for weight loss, specifically
Mhm.
women, and only one has come to you to become stronger. And so that leads into my next question, which are what are the
Yeah.
top three issues that people come to you for?
Yeah. So most of the people are coming to me with the broad umbrella of weight loss, right? But what brings them are really two or three or four things. One, it always has to deal with clothing, getting dressed easily, feeling good in their clothes, or their clothes are too tight. And that's what started the change. So there's this desire to just look and feel better. Clothing is a big one. The second one is there's almost always something they want to do, like an activity. I have a client that's going on vacation and they want to be able to hike a certain amount and they want to be able to walk around with their family, or someone that was really into biking and cycling, and they feel like they can't do things that they're really interested in because they're not in shape enough to do that. And then the last one I would say is, I have to think about this. It's probably a combination of two things that are similar. And I often will coach women that have dieted before. So there was a period where they felt at least normal in their body or felt good enough in their body. And they no longer feel like themselves. So that's mismatch of what they see in the mirror versus how they feel. And the flip side of that is this women that are just, I'm so sick of dieting. I'm up and down and I'm up and down. And they're just kind of two sides of the same coin. And so They just want to be done. They're just like, I can't do any more diets. I'm done. I don't like how I feel. It's just not me. And I just want to get to a place where I feel good about myself. And that's really the top issues that most people have.
Okay. And would you say that those are the top issues, whether it's a man or a woman?
Yeah, I think it is really because most of us are just interested in feeling good in this body we're like walking around in day to day. And I see it even in accountability works, coaching people. Like men have like, I want six-pack ab goals just like women have.
Do you see a shift from it going from weight loss to, let's say, strengthening? Like we're all, we're at this midpoint.
Mhm.
See a change, or do you still feel like the number one driver is the weight loss?
It's interesting you asked me that because if you'd have asked me like a year or two ago, I would have told you, oh no, like it's definitely shifting. But I realized like as a coach, the people like that I see through like social media and my feeds, I'm often following like other coaches or other influencers. And certainly within my type community, we are like, it is like across the board. There's so few of us that are really looking to promote the idea of like traditional diet industry, like, exercise more, eat less, get skinny, have abs. Like none of us are really interested in that. And it's really about being strong and being healthy and having like mindful like relationship with your food. But then I get out to the general public and they have, if I were to say intuitive eating, people would just look at me like I had two heads. They're like, I have no idea what that means. And so I recognize that really what people, even when they hear what I do, people are always like, oh, I should probably lose a couple pounds, or I really need to lose weight, and they're also really married to the idea that you find all your weight loss in the gym. And that's not true. You find your health in the gym, but like you find your weight loss in the kitchen. So I think we think as people in the business that it's moving and it starts with us, right? It starts with that messaging. So hopefully it continues and it spills out. And I definitely see a lot more younger women focusing on strength and health, which is amazing. I'm just not sure it combats all the other kind of stimulus and information we're getting in front of us about just being thinner. So, but hopefully it's a work in progress.
So let me ask you, where would you start with someone who wants to make any change in their physical health?
I think the biggest thing, and this really goes across the board with anybody trying to change anything, is you have to have awareness. And I will tell you that so many people are just on autopilot. We're all so busy. We're all so flooded with information that we are just struggling to get by through the day. It's like you get up, you're trying to like get your kids ready for school, like you're running them, you're making lunches, you're working on like 6 or 7 hours of sleep, you've got deadlines, you're taking them to soccer practice. I mean, whatever, right? Like most of the people that I'm working with, like they're just busy and they don't even stop to think like, what am I actually doing? Like, do I even like the choices I'm making? Am I just making them because they're here or they're easy? And I think anything you want to change, you actually have to take like a moment and build some awareness around it. And that is what we do in the beginning. Is like I like to set up like what I consider a foundation for people. And there's habits that support that. But it's really like look at your environment, just notice what's going on and give it a name. Like just remind yourself, like, oh, like I feel this kind of way right now, and my head is in the fridge. And that's it. Like you don't even have to change it. Like you just have to work on like noticing it. You have to notice like what do I actually eat at lunch? Because I'll ask people like, okay, what's lunch look like? And they don't know. It takes them a minute. They have to really stop and be like, I don't even know. I don't know what I'm eating. I guess whatever's fast. That's an answer I get more often than not. They can't even tell me what goes in their body and whether they like it and does it make them feel good physically or emotionally. It's whether it's just like, I don't know if it's easy, it goes in. And that's it. And so we start with bringing some awareness because you can't change anything you don't know you need to change.
So smart. I do think in these modern times, just to stay afloat is a success. I mean,
Yeah.
people are just running really hard. And I think we have to be compassionate to that.
Hmm.
Love that you start, like, let's just start noticing and
Yeah.
seeing, and not just so that they come back into the present and connect with what they're doing, but also because, you know, in the work that we do, we track a lot and we show up every week and we're talking about things, right? And speaking truth to things. But being in the present, it's not just about what am I doing, but it's getting you comfortable with whatever the choices you're currently making are. And like
Yes.
that starts to just create that self-compassion. I think is really important for all of us, but I think it's extremely important for the work that you do,
Huge.
our relationship with our bodies and how, society creates a lot of, friction there. The more you can develop that self-compassion and be okay with where you are right now and know that you can make whatever changes you want to make is such an important practice. So I just
Yeah.
applaud you for starting there with people.
Yeah. It
Like it's
is. It's everything because especially there's so much judgment and shame and all and guilt and things all wrapped into that. But if you operate from that space, if you don't know how, or you need someone to help you learn how to kind of set those emotions aside, you can't change because you're too busy judging. And you have to be able to kind of look at it just like a scientist, like we're just gathering data. I tell people to kind of put on like their detective hat. Like we're not going to judge what we find. We're just going to look. We're just going to take that big bag of stuff you have and we're just going to dump it on the counter and then sift through it and see what you got. And then from there, we'll decide what we want to put back in our, our big bag of purse and then what we want to just leave aside.
Mhm. And that practice, it doesn't matter that you're starting with your physical health. The more you develop that, the more you're going to be naturally applying that to all the areas of your life. And you will see how each one of those areas will just continue to go in the direction that you want them to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's an important thing to note of like the effort you're putting into one area of your life will flow into. So much so
Absolutely.
coaches, like one of the questions we ask is if somebody is bringing something to us and maybe it's not the first time they have, so where else is this showing up in your life? And you will, it's just there's always other places. So
Absolutely.
connected. And so I feel like you get more for your effort than you realize. So, what are your top three recommendations or resources for people that want to be healthier and stronger?
Yeah. So the first recommendation I actually have is to get rid, like start with clearing out anything that makes you feel bad. And that includes like social media accounts, people that you're following that maybe make you feel bad about your body, people that are doing things that create a tremendous amount of like comparison or guilt, even people in your life that like you feel competitive with, whether it's them or you, it doesn't matter. Just try to start limiting things that create negativity for you because it's hard to change when you're judging yourself all the time. So at best, you don't have to find like necessarily anything positive, but you do want to find things that are at least neutral. Like, you know what I mean? That you're not going like hitting yourself over the head with like, what's wrong with me every time you invest in that stuff. The second thing I give all my clients when I start working with them is Atomic Habits. And it's a book you can probably get at your library because it's so applicable to everything. Just going back to your statement, Marissa, like how you do one thing is how you'll do other things in your life. And it's this idea of if you want something to change, it's not massive effort and then just quitting because it becomes too difficult to maintain. It's this consistent effort you make. And consistency isn't like I'm perfect. It's just up and down and up and down, but if you're just not giving up. And so I think the lessons that they teach you in that book are really useful for a variety of different things, but certainly they're helpful and they mirror a lot of what I do in my coaching business. And then when it comes to actual physical health, um, For the women that I coach, there's a really old book. It's by Brett Contreras, who is now known on Instagram as the glute guy. So if you go find him on Instagram, it'll be all booty shots. So let's just throw that out there. But he made this book early in his career called Strong Curves. And I love it because it is a full body workout. It's literally set up. I think there's 3 systems of like 12-week programs so you can progress it. And it works you out head to toe if you actually want physical health, and that is like strength. If you want to go online and look, I also love like Lane Norton because he busts a lot of the pseudoscience out there. So not a fan of like something is really strongly pushing you, like this is the only way to do it. That should just raise a red flag. And so I don't like him. And then so I like him for busting a lot of that stuff. I also love Ben Bruno. He does, like, if you want to get another weight loss program, he's funny and irreverent, and he knows what he's doing. And then there's another woman I really like. Her name is Doc Liss Fitness, and I'll go to her because she's talking about female fitness health as well, and a very balanced approach. Like, it's not just this camp of like must lift weights or this camp of must do cardio. It's like, how does all of this stuff fit together? And then if you want to get into like how to get more protein or nuanced things, I have resources there too. And we can add some of these people in notes if you have them, or people can reach out to me. It's fine too, because I don't want to bombard you with a million names.
No, thank you for those.
Mhm.
I don't think I've heard of any of those people. I always love, we all we are always exchanging within us coaches.
Yes,
I'm
yeah.
always blown away by the number of resources. I mean, outside of Atomic Habits, I've heard of none of those books, and they all sound great. I agree. Atomic Habits is just a phenomenal book. But I also, what you said about getting rid of anything that makes you feel bad. Yes. I love your starting points, people.
Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah, because it speaks to our energy.
You know what, Marissa? So many people, when they come to me, like, I feel, and you probably feel this way too at Accountability Works, but like usually what spurs people into action is this desire to just not be where they are. It's like this negative, like, get me out of here.
Mhm.
But to get long-term results, you have to leave that behind and focus on the positive. And so like you just have to have so much compassion for that space that you're starting in, and just, you know what I mean? Because the client hates themselves enough. Like, it doesn't, you don't want to go in there as a coach, like beating some, at least I don't want to go in there beating someone up. They're doing that themselves. Like, it's my job to just like, let's calm it all down and look at it all rational, and then figure out the things that light you up and move you there. Because it's so much easier to add in things that you're already doing, to do more of the positive things than to cut out the negative things, if that makes sense.
Mhm. It does make sense. So, how do you think accountability supports people in their nutrition and exercise?
Well, it's everything. Let's be honest, it's everything. Because left to our own devices, we'll just be like, that meal wasn't that bad, or I'll go to the gym tomorrow, or whatever. I do it. I mean, I do it too. Like, I have been doing this for 12 years professionally. Before that, like, I have lifted weights for years, 20, 30 years. I don't know, long time. But I did hired a coach like about a year and a half ago for myself, because even though I know all the things to do, but because I needed that accountability piece, I wanted to be able to like get out what was in my brain and like help me talk through this, or here's where I'm struggling, or, here's my actual weigh-in this week, and here's what it looks like, and did I do my stuff and did I not? And I remember when I got into personal training, and I might have the statistic slightly wrong, but it was something between 20 and 25% more effort is exerted when you have someone watching you. And so that was the difference between going to the gym on your own and having someone that just, even if I did nothing but stand there and watch you, you're going to work out harder. You're going to give more effort. And I think the same can be applied to like, I've got to show up on Thursday and tell people I either did what I said I was going to do, was true to my word, or I didn't. And if I didn't, then I better know why.
Mhm.
And I just think it's useful. Like, everybody needs a coach, because you can never see your own story as well as someone else can look outside and see in.
That's right. 100% to everything you just said. I'm curious, since you've been holding people accountable for, like you said, 12 years, you've been holding people accountable within our framework and process for many years now as well. Do you see any differences? Like if you're holding somebody accountable as a personal trainer or in your role as a coach with us or outside of your work with us, like do you notice differences or do you feel like it all sort of comes back to the same thing?
It's all the same stuff. It is literally all the same stuff. We all have resistance. Like we all have that, like, I don't know, it's like the little devil and the angel or that tug of war, however you want to describe it, right? We all have like, I probably should do this, but I don't really want to. Like, and how do you move from like making the decisions from the best part of you or that future version of you versus the part that's like, I'm super stressed and tired and I don't wanna, and I just wanna like, I don't know, binge watch Netflix or scroll for 1 hour. Like, how am I gonna get this other stuff done?
Amanda, I am so thankful that you made the time to talk to us today and that you are a part of our community. Thank
Yay. Me too.
and thank you all for listening. We will see you next week for our final interview in the series.
Bye. Thank you.